Just live. Good morning, everybody. I don't think there's anybody on here, but I'm going to talk anyway because I got nothing else to do. Anyhow, so talking, running. Again, like I said, I unmute, mute. Okay, I'm unmuted. Anyhow, yeah. So both Facebook Live and Zoom. Zoom I can put up. It's on there forever. Facebook Live I think it's only up there for a month. Anyhow, so coffee with Warren this morning. So today, again, starting September, right? First Saturday in September. Yay. I can't do Saturdays a lot. I can do like maybe once a month. Mondays I will do. Mondays will be wine with Warren, but Saturdays will be coffee with Warren. And yeah, I just wanted to start this off, and I'm going to say this is a lot about me. It should be about you guys, but again, it's I've got my plans for next year set already, and the rest of this year, not much for the rest of this year. I'm just gonna train. I'm gonna do maybe a couple race 5Ks, maybe a 10K, nothing major. I'm gonna work a lot of races. I got my own race coming up that I'm organizing, which is driving me nuts. Um, Advice: if you're gonna start or gonna be a race organizer, uh, expect a lot of stress. And yeah, so talk about me. It's actually was noisy here a few minutes ago. Lots of birds in the air. I'm one thing I'm going to mention right off the bat. Let's talk about September. I know a lot of you still have races and marathons coming up. A lot of you did your stuff over the summer, or maybe even the spring. Us in Edmonton, it was marathon weekend. I'm going to say most important thing, and I noticed that in some of my friendly runners that I've just sort of started this out. After you do like a marathon, half marathon, even if it's a 10, even if it's a 5 or 10K, not if it's only if it is 5 or 10K, because again, let's straighten that part out. Um, a marathon, a 5K, same thing to both groups of people, right? It's just as hard. I remember this, my favorite quote ever. I can't remember the name of the person that said it. It was in, if you ever watched Eco Challenge on Amazon, it's from Fiji, and he says it right at the end. He says it right at the end. It says it's for everybody. It's you can have your own Eco Challenge, you can have your own ultra marathon, you can have your own marathon. For you, I mean, for anybody, like a 5K, I can make a 5K as hard as a marathon. It's your challenge, right? It's whatever it is. So it's just as hard. And the thing I was going to say about after the race, especially after your bucket list race, your goal race for the year, take time off afterwards. Especially marathons. I've seen so many of my friends they did a marathon and then Wednesday they're going for like a 18K or Saturday next Sunday they're doing an 18K run, which is kind of okay, but not. We always used to say 1 day off for every mile run. So if you did a 26.2 mile run race, it's not just the race, it's the 18 weeks or whatever building up to that too. You've got to recover. You got to get recovered. You have to think of like the triathletes that are doing the Ironman in Hawaii in October. They don't do anything after that until maybe January. That they're done. They're recovering. They've done their whole stuff and they know what they have to do because they don't want to get injured. They don't want to get worn out. They don't want to get burnt out. They want to recover. So 1 day off. Okay, so for a 5K, that'd be 5 days off. That's fine. And right, you can do a half every weekend if you wanted to, but it's your race, it's your build up. And I'm going to say two things. First of all, thank everybody that supported you up to that race day. They put up with you for the 10 or 18 weeks beforehand. You probably haven't done a lot with them. Take them out for dinner, but make them dinner, whatever, do the chores around the house, finish the stuff you're supposed to do over the summer, and then take that break, take that time off for two things: to recover, to pay back to family, friends, bosses, whatever, but also take the time to think about what's next. There's a video, I think I posted it on here. It's an A61 and just a song, What's Next? What's Next? And just what is next? What is next? What do you want to do? How do you feel after that race? The other thing about the run, what did you learn from it? You should learn something from every run you ever do. When you finish, just think, well, what went well? What didn't go well? What felt great? What does that route feel like? Did you go someplace new? Did anything hurt that shouldn't hurt? Did something feel fantastic? Why did it feel fantastic? Did you maybe have the wrong stuff to eat beforehand? Did you need to eat something? Did you not hydrate enough? So make a list, do a journal. I'm a big fan of journals. Just how did that event go and what went right and what went wrong? For me, the 10K was I stayed near the starting line in a hotel and thought I could sleep in at 6:30 in the morning. Somebody started playing bagpipes. That was my mistake. But the other thing was I overthought it. I overthink everything. So oh, what's this? Go live. Okay. This maybe is not on Facebook Live. There it is. No, now it is. I started talking, guys, just saying way before this. So the Zoom will have more stuff on it. But anyhow, yeah, the 10K I did. First of all, it was a year of training falling apart. Originally going to do the half, ended up doing the 10K. Wasn't even sure I was going to do 10K until the morning of the race. And so a lesson, first of all, train no matter what. If you're focused on a race or an event, do it, train it, commit to it, and be done with it. I don't know if anybody's watching the Paralympics, and oh my God, this has been a great year for us, right? Tour de France, Olympics, Tour de France, FAMS avec Swift, and now the Paralympics. The Paralympics are amazing. Watching that, if you ever think, okay, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go for a run, or I just don't feel up to it, watch those guys. The Paralympians, I mean, they're amazing to watch them do what they do, and wait, and how they appreciate what they do too. And we just finishing is something else, despite all odds, right? So I mean that you don't get more inspired than that. Anyhow, so I'm enough of that. So yeah, recover, pay back, get ready for what's next, take the time off. Marathons, don't dive into a marathon right away. I know I think one person on here might have done this, and he did a marathon back to back. That's 26 miles 2 weekends in a row. You're gonna need a lot of recovery. That's the big thing, right? Recovery, don't get hurt. So that's important. Most people marathons, they do like 4 a year. Even the I can't remember her name that won the women's marathon in the Olympics, but she did the London Olympics. If you watch that, it's still on YouTube. And she was injured right at the start. Everybody thought she was injured. She won the London Olympics. It was her first marathon ever. Then came back a few months later to do Paris, right? Or was it just a couple months? Anyhow, so most of us, we can only stand maybe 4 marathons a year, and our significant others, loved ones, bosses, friends could probably only stand us doing maybe one a year. I was always a one guy year, one event a year. I picked one event, marathon, death race, Sinister Seven, Ironman. That was it. That was my goal for the year. Everything else was just for fun, and those were my focuses. And that's all I put my family through for that. There was years when I did Ironman and New York Marathon the same year. That was tough. But when your wife and kids start asking who you are, there's a lesson there. Or your wife says, "Aren't you training too hard?" Anyhow, so one thing I was going to mention today is now I think this is playtime. Once you've recovered, once you've had those 5 or 10 or 26 days off, playtime. Try different things. Try other things. Just go for fun. Go for a fun run. Find friends to run with. Run on your own. Run someplace you've run before. I think of it like being a kid. When you were a kid, it was just playtime, right? It's different now. I think a lot for a lot of younger people now. I hate saying kid or children or child anymore. I like young persons. It makes them sound like they still have, they actually have their people, right? When the children become people, they're people ready to start. But I used to play hockey, football, tag football, street hockey, just pick up games at the rink. We would go ride our bikes anywhere, everywhere. Nobody thought of it as training. It was just playing. Now, when we do that, now there's a Calvin and Hobbes cartoon like that. It says, when we get older, we can't call it playing. We have to call it training, but it's still playtime. Go throw a frisbee. I remember when we used to have barbecues and stuff and parties after the end of the season, and somebody was a teacher and she brought jump ropes for us. Watching runners jump ropes that haven't jumped ropes since school was funny to watch, but it was fun. It was something different. Just go for a hike. It's something different. Keep that active. Keep that fitness there. Don't lose that. Don't let that fall apart. Watch your diet. Make sure you got that going. Yeah, you can cheat sometimes, but make sure you got the hydration and the proper nutrition. Don't go to McDonald's every Monday, but have fun with it. Have fun. Experiment with things too. Maybe you play around with your training. Can you get away with just running 3 days a week and doing other stuff the other 4 days of the week? But again, as kids, we were just active. You never, ever went for, like, say, a bike ride in the morning and had a friend come and ask if you want to play baseball or soccer or football in the evening and say, "No, I can't. I trained this morning." You never did that. So get used to that. That's why I like sort of like training like a triathlete as well, is you can do more than one thing a day. You can play around with stuff. I've really gone to just running 3 days a week. Actually, okay, 4 days, I lied. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Yeah, Sunday, Mondays, not really, doesn't have that break between, but I like Sundays because if I can't do Sundays, I like the Sunday Mondays because if I can't do Sundays, a long run Sunday, I can do it Monday. I like to having that option. And then I use the Thursdays and Tuesdays, Saturdays for other stuff, biking, swimming, maybe taking that extra day off. Always take a day off. Just give me a second. I need coffee. Oh, yeah, I forgot sugar, but I'll suffer. Anyhow, remember, make sure you take those days off, take the time off, take the time off to stick your feet up in the air. Go for a swim. I love swimming as well on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Sometimes Sundays. I like strength training. I throw that in. One thing I never do is I don't do biking and running the same day. Swimming you can do any day. And strength training I try to do on the days I'm not running. And if I do, I try to do it either later in the evening or early in the morning before I do anything else. But I don't do running and spiking the same day, just the endurance thing. It doesn't, I'm not going to say I never do that. I will hop on my mountain bike and go for groceries or something. But yeah, I like having that schedule, and it's not always running, because sometimes running, I find it's your brain goes dead, right? You can run 5, 6 days a week. Make sure you have a rest day period. Um, Make sure you run for purpose. I know one of my guest speakers said something about junk miles. I don't think it's such a thing as junk miles. I just think it's overdoing it and getting overtrained. Junk miles, that whatever. If you like going for a run, then go for a run with a friend. But you have your specific distance and speed training and hill training. Don't give up hill training. Once you've recovered, uh, if you're running hills on Wednesdays, Thursdays, whatever day, keep doing hills. It'll keep the foundation that you've got built there. Speed training is a different thing. I think once you pick your race and pick your time, there's a specific time for speed training. But hill training, I think, is overall it's like fun. It can be. Undulating hills can be fun. Running hills for 30 minutes, going to November Project if you can, and just doing hills with them. It's just it builds you up, it builds your self-confidence, it builds character, and it builds strength, and it makes you a better runner. I think it helps with your the foundations of running, your biomechanics. We're going to talk about that, I think, Monday, about that. I got a person in one of my clinics. I may even throw her on Zoom or on Facebook Live if I get the chance. She pounds the ground when she runs, and I'm trying to figure out why. I'm thinking it's just her stride. So we'll get to that. Anyhow, so yeah, so play like a kid, um, and just have fun with it. Uh, plan, think ahead. What's next? It's fall, right? Maybe you're doing New York, maybe you're doing the waterfront, maybe you're doing Seattle, maybe you're doing something else. So that's fine. But then take the time off that till the end of the year and plan for 2025. It's 2025 next year, possibly an election year. Let's stay away from that. But yeah, so start thinking about that. There's other races, like some places, major cities where there's a running, there's a thing called the Hypo Half. It's in February. There's two of them here in Edmonton this year. We'll talk about that some other time, but it's a fun run, and it's a half marathon in the middle of winter. You have no idea what the weather's going to be like. Is it going to be -40? Is it going to be 0? Is it lots of snow? No snow? Roads going to be bare and dry? Are they going to be covered with ice? You never know. So it's a fun run. I got to probably work that race, but it's nice to run that. So I'm going to train as if I'm going to do the half marathon. If I don't do it and I have to work the day, I at least got the training, and I probably run a half marathon before half marathon day. So that builds me up. And then a few months after that is Vancouver. I'll do the Vancouver half in May, and then I'll do the full in Edmonton in August. That's my year for next year. And again, I'm older. I have to watch that. I can't do as much as I could when I was younger. And yeah, I know guys that I actually met one guy, he's in his 80s. I can't remember names, him and his wife, they lived in a place just south of Seattle. They're race organizers. They organized a marathon in, I want to say Oyama. I don't know if that's such a place, but it sounds like proper. They were in there, I think their 80s when I met them in Victoria years and years ago. So they got to be almost 100 now. But he was doing marathons. Again, he's not fast. He's not an elite. He just finishes. And I watched his run. It's probably more closer to, no, it's not a walk. It's not actually a run, but it's a real shuffle. And he doesn't like some guys golf like every weekend. And if there happen to be two marathons, one on a Saturday and one on Sunday, he'd do both. So good on him. But that's a little extreme, but it's just for fun, right? So if you can do stuff for fun, why not? So anyhow, my next big goal would be half marathon in February. So 18 weeks starts in October, which is not really a lot of time, but it gives me a lot of time for that race day. 18 weeks is a long time, right? When you think about it, 18 weeks, except when you're training for something, and then all of a sudden you think, 10 weeks. What happened to the first 8? But make a plan, I guess. Start making plans. Start thinking about what's next. Give yourself lots of time, and then do things now too. Other things you should be doing now too, I think, is doing more stretching, yoga. Find somebody that can show you how to do a foam rolling. That's a lot of stuff, and do other stuff. Do rowing. Do strength training. Strength training in the off season is actually probably better than during race season. So do that now. Build yourself up. Strength training for your legs, awesome. But you're also doing hills, so that builds up your legs as well too. And also learn how not to get injured. What can you do to keep from being injured? And a lot of it is don't overtrain. So yeah, we'll talk more about that on Monday. Um, and yeah, just understand what the training is all about. Follow a training plan. Make up your own. Again, I pointed out that people on this before, I can show it again, but I've been using ChatGPT. I do have training plans that Running Room has, and I can follow them. But ChatGPT is perfect. Again, you get the static training plan, no matter where you get it from, Running Room Magazine or something. It's always Monday through Sunday or Sunday through Saturday. It's assuming that you have weekends off. It's assuming that you can run in evenings, assuming you can do hill repeats on Wednesday. We don't, that's not real life, right? I'm, even though I'm retired now, I still don't have that kind of flexibility. When I was working, I never got weekends off. I was a lot of times I was working Wednesday evenings. So I can go to ChatGPT, tell them these are the days I can train. This is my goal. And this is when I can do my hills. This is when I can do my long run. And it'll print that out for me for 10, 18 weeks and tell me what to do each day and just check off as I go along. It's so simple. You can ask people to build up a training plan for you. I think that's the easiest. You can even ask them if, say, you want to do a 2-hour half marathon. It can actually set you your paces, training paces for that. So I'm a big fan. I know a lot of people are scared of AI, but for me, it works. I've even asked them once to set me up with a training day, like a good fitness day. And it had me starting with meditation and yoga and running, and then maybe swimming later on, and make sure my diet was good throughout the day and do things so health wise, right? And I started using that almost every day now. It's almost like the 75-day hard. 75-day hard, if you know, you guys don't know about it, or people, guys, clients, people. I'm going to say people. It's 2 days, 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes a day, 45 minutes each. One has to be outside. And workout, it could be foam rolling, it could be walking, it could be running, it could be swimming, it could be jumping up and down in one place, doing jumping jacks for 45 minutes. You have to drink, I think it's a gallon of water a day, or 4 liters. And what else do you have to do? You have to pick a diet and stick to it. Pick a diet, stick to it. Some will say you have to do a 15-minute cold shower. I'm not doing that. That sounds like a heart attack waiting to happen. But you just do that and do it for 75 days. The thought is, once you've done it for 75 days, first of all, you'll be magnificent after 75 days. I don't buy that. But you start a habit, and it starts going on beyond the 75 days. That's why running training plans are usually 10 weeks. The thought is, after doing that for 10 weeks, after the 10 weeks are done, guess what? You're going to keep on wanting to do your Wednesdays and Sundays at least. So yeah, so start working on that. Work on a habit if you haven't already. Don't stop the training. Just take the break and then get back at it and just train for fun. Do other stuff, and start thinking about equipment as well. I just had a bit of a shock. We did a run on Labor Day, Monday, and just friends. It's just an extra thing. We have a tradition. There's 2 traditions we have here at Running Room in St. Albert. Is we head out for pizza or food the last Wednesday of every month. So we did that last week, which was great. And also we do, like, whenever there's a stat, we'll usually run that morning. We haven't really done it for Christmas. I think we did it for New Year's. We have done it. Actually, we're going to do that for New Year's this year. Just thinking way ahead. But also stats, Thanksgiving, let the significant other worry about the turkey. We'll go for a run. But it was fun. We had, like, I think 6 people. But I went out, I was tired. I grabbed the wrong pair of shoes. I grabbed these things, my Hokas. These are my walking shoes. I got them for doing a thing called the Solstice Run. You don't get them for free. People say, "Oh, you got free shoes." Well, how much was your registration? Your registration paid for the shoes. That's why certain races are certain prices, right? I'm doing a race. Mine is $40 because that's all it's going to cost me to do per runner. So as long as you get 200 runners, I break even. Anyhow, so I brought these. I don't run in them. I walk in them. These are my running shoes. And so it was fine. It was like we did a 6K. I didn't kill myself. I didn't notice till I was done. And it was okay. I didn't hurt myself. I do pronate. a little bit excessively on one side, but I don't wear stability shoes because it's just on one side. So if I pronate on one side like this sort of exaggeration, but like this, I underpronate on one side, overpronate on the other. Well, if I get a shoe that fixes pronation, it might help out this one, but this one is just going to push further out. So I go for just a neutral shoe with a little support in it, and it that just work that works with my feet. It guides my feet rather than forces my feet. So both feet can do whatever they're supposed to do. Doesn't hurt my knees. So that's we'll talk shoes eventually some point. But one thing I didn't notice, I got these not that long ago. Ons I love because up until now, Ons has been the best shoe ever. No stability really, just the pods, the way the pods work. They collapse when you land on them, right? You land like landing on a cloud, push off. But what they can do with the pods, and they also have a speed plate that helps snap the shoe in place. I can't shoe this. I can't really bend the shoe, but some pods they'll harden up, so it actually sort of guides your feet. Well, I thought these were a bit more stability, so I bought them. They didn't really work for me, and I just noticed this. You're going to see this a lot, probably every shoe you own, but this I can show really well. You can see where it wore out at the heels, especially on this pair. That shoe's done. I'm looking at that. I'm seeing the shoe's done. I can see almost see the midsole. Once you see the midsole, which is underneath that, which I'm thinking these shoes is probably just a little black. That's time to get rid of the shoes because what happens is once the midsole starts hitting the ground, it'll disappear like that, and your shoes toast. So buy a new pair of shoes now, Warren. I'm not going to buy fiber plate. I'll talk about maybe Monday. Talk about carbon fiber plates and my take on them, but these are worn, and I've never seen that before on just one shoe. Yes, it's starting to wear up on this shoe a little bit, but not as extremely as this one. So what is happening there? Okay, so this is the foot that, yeah, this is the foot that pronates or supinates or underpronates. No, this is pronates, and this is the one that underpronates. So it's going to wear out on that side. And if you see that, it isn't. That's where it's wearing out, right? So yay, problem solved. Problem with looking at the wear patterns on shoes. I used to sell shoes at the running room. People would bring in their shoes, and I'd say, "Can I see your shoe?" And I'm going to see anything. And most of their shoes would be like 2 or 3 years old. This would be all worn out. You can't tell anything. Sometimes you can tell. You can tell. Like you can even tell with this shoe. I think you can in this or there. It's actually collapsing inward. Once the shoe starts doing that, that's toast. But it's weird because I've had other ons. There's one called the On Cloud Surfer, which is my favorite shoe now. Period. I'm going back to them. It never collapsed like that. It worked my feet, never hurt. Some reason they would squeak after they got wet, but an amazing shoe. So I think in the way the pods and those are built, maybe there's more of them, so it's a little bit softer. I may try the Cloud Monster, which has got like 2 layers of pods. Yeah, so it's really like running on a cloud. But it's again, you don't know. You buy a pair of shoes, you try them in the store. How do they work? Well, they feel fine for the first 5 minutes, right? Some shoes you can take them home. Brooks, running stores, and Brooks. I'm not sure about other stores, but Brooks for sure at the running room. You can take them home for 90 days, run indoors or outdoors. So Brooks, take them for a run through the mud, and if they don't work, take them back. Other shoes you can just keep them inside, so you run on an indoor track, or if you can find an outdoor track that's spotless, you can do that. But you have to make sure they come back, and we can't tell you've taken them outside, but month inside, then you can tell, right? With these, I couldn't tell right away. It was okay. I'd need problems probably a month afterwards or a couple weeks afterwards. So maybe I'd actually twigged in, but I've already taken it outside. So I gotta get my money's worth. And actually you can see where I pronate because I've worn out the toe. So that's another telltale sign that the shoes are not for me. But ons have worked for me. I'll talk about ons and Hokas maybe on Monday. And pronation, supination, or underpronating, and how to make shoes for how to buy a shoe. We'll do that. And we'll talk about biomechanics as well, because why not? Because it's the start of the season. So if there's anybody on here just starting running, that would be great to join in. If you have friends that want to do this, I'll be on here. I'm gonna have wine. I'm gonna have wine Monday. Monday's gonna be a wine night. My kids like McDonald's on Mondays. I like wine. So we'll do that. But anyway, yeah, so talked a little bit about what to plan for the fall. Talk about shoes a little bit. Biomechanics, we'll talk about that. Biomechanics for runners is it's pretty I'm gonna say flexible. There's a lot of if you watch the Olympic marathons, the men's was amazing. I don't recall their form was always perfect. It was just dead on. If you saw them running side by side, the form was actually perfect. Okay, so why is one faster than the other? This And yeah, just this, I'm going to say that this, it's because really strength wise, they're pretty much all similar. There's really, even the sprinters, you think how much different, like, um, DeGrasse didn't make the final in the 100, or did he even make it in the 200? I can't remember, but the 100 didn't make. He was like 12th and didn't make the cut. But the difference between him and the guy in the first, seconds, right? It's just seconds. So there's just a difference in this. I'm gonna say maybe form might be a little bit of it, but I think and strength, but a lot of it's just this, especially in the marathon. It's just they have that drive. What was I talking about? So the difference between the form. But if you watch the women's marathon, it's not on CBC Gem anymore. It might be on YouTube. But even watch Boston last year or this year, and watch the winners. Everyone's got a different form, different, not exactly the same, not spot on, and they're still running incredible speeds. So I'm going to say, and if they don't get hurt, why would you change? So I'm going to say there's flexibility into it. And I've run with guys that are faster than me. Their form is like, you wouldn't, if you read it in a book, you'd say wrong. Guys running with their hands by their sides. Some people heel strike, midfoot strike, toe strike. I'll talk about that because that's a whole ball of wax too. The whole myth about, oh, you have to be midfoot strike. Nah, it's where your foot lands. It's not how it lands. Because people that land under hills, it's just the way you're built. And if you want to change that, plan on doing drills for the rest of your life. But yeah, we'll talk about that. And as we go along, we'll talk about winter because that's coming. Apparently, I can smell the smoke today, which is really weird because apparently forest fires are under control in Alberta, but maybe it's from BC. Yeah, somebody said, I saw somebody post this morning that smoke is back. So we'll talk a little about that. Yeah, we'll talk biomechanics shoes on Monday. Shoes, biomechanics, running form, what to work on. And we'll just start at the beginning. We'll start at the beginning of running, where we begin. I know I saw some people when I was going to do this thing last Monday. That was a disaster. I don't know what happened to my phone. It just did not work. And I don't know why Zoom didn't work because it's not connected to my Wi-Fi. I'll spend the rest of the week trying to figure that out, and maybe I'll try that again next week. But yeah, anybody wants to join me in, I'll be here Monday, 6 o'clock. I'll commit again. And Saturdays, if I can do Saturday, I make sure everybody knows way ahead of time. But yeah, time for coffee. I'm doing laundry apparently today because, it's payback. Talk next time.